Hi, welcome to the next video. Um, I can't really remember when I wrote this novel. It was back in 2008, but I do remember that it meant a great deal to me at the time. Oh, I mean, how many of you can remember what you were doing at the time? It's not the longest novel that I've ever written, but it does mean a great deal to me. And it was one of the first novels that I wrote that I was very proud of at the time. So I hope you enjoy this short synopsis of it.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a really quite extraordinary set of sources. They map out a life that seems almost pre-written, not just by, family secrets, but by one very specific recurring date.
Exactly. We're talking about Barbara, the daughter of this figure known only as the Master. Her life seems to revolve around August 11th in some truly uncanny ways.
And the sources we have, they're dense, aren't they? They describe this very isolated world of, well, Old English money, a pretty shocking conspiracy right from birth.
And this deeply personal journey of identity, legacy, and dealing with the hand fate dealt her. Our mission today is really to trace how this single date could seemingly dictate everything.
Right, from devastating secrets to this final climactic moment of observation.
The moment we'll explore right up to the edge.
So the big question for you listening is, are we looking at just a mountain of coincidence here? Or is there something more, something like fate, weaving through this life that seems so tied to the calendar, to the stars?
Let's kick things off with where it all began, the night that set this whole story in motion. August 11th, 1969.
Yeah, talk about a dramatic start. The sources describe this really frantic scene.
It's chaos. A phone call comes in around 2 a.m. in London, and it triggers what the sources call the Master's expeditious departure. He grabs his motorcycle.
And not just any motorcycle, right? This is a Vincent Black Shadow, a beast of a machine from the 50s.
A legendary bike.
Yeah.
And he just guns it, heading for Morehouse down in Devonshire.
The sources mentioned he was slightly inebriated, which sounds, well, incredibly dangerous. He pushes this bike to 122 miles per hour.
It sounds less like a concerned father-to-be and more like, I don't know, someone almost tempting fate themselves. The sources really lean into the recklessness.
They mention the noise, the bikes scattering livestock along the A303, cows, sheep, horses.
Yeah, total mayhem. You get the sense the urgency wasn't just about the birth, it was about control. He needed to get there to manage the situation.
Because by the time he does arrive after this wild ride, the birth is over. It had been a long, difficult labor, 15 hours.
And the situation he finds is, well, immediately problematic. Not for the baby's survival initially, but for his own standing.
For the family name.
Exactly. The baby, Barbara, is born with polydactyly, 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes on each foot.
Wow.
And there are other issues, too. An enlarged heart, an intersex condition. The doctor present, a friend called Bunny, apparently thought she wouldn't live more than a day.
And this is where the Master's mind goes straight to damage control.
Instant calculation, the sources say. Thinking about the child, yes, but also about Effie, the mother, and crucially, his own family name and reputation. Class and lineage are everything here.
So a child with physical deformities, an intersex condition, that was seen as a threat to the line.
An existential threat, it seems. So he and the family doctor, Dr. Frost, they make this swift, frankly terrible decision.
They decide to lie.
They agree to tell Effie that the baby girl died.
That's chilling.
And the Master seals it. He says it will be for the best, and then adds something even more haunting. May God forgive us all if she lives.
Wow. So he prioritizes reputation concealment
Over his own living daughter. He arranges for her to be sent away immediately to St. Mary's convent, hidden from the world.
It's such a brutal start. The sources have this poetic line about her, don't they? That she came from the stars and was constructed from poets' words.
But her reality was this isolated convent life, shaped entirely by that initial lie and her physical conditions.
Life there sounds incredibly difficult. The sources detail her medical situation pretty clearly.
Yeah, the enlarged heart was a constant concern. The intersex condition meant she had An underdeveloped penis, but no womb or ovaries, and the extra digits. They made her a target.
There's that cruel chant the other children apparently used.
Barbara's toes stand in rows. She got extra fingers and toes. It's just heartbreaking. Imagine growing up with that, in total isolation.
That's a heavy burden. But the sources say she found solace, right? Two main passions.
Yes, escapes, really. First was poetry. She had this incredible memory, apparently could recite really obscure Elizabethan poets perfectly.
And the second.
Astronomy. The stars. She spent countless hours on the convent roof stargazing with binoculars she made herself. It was her connection to something bigger.
And this brings us right back to August 11th.
It really does, because August 11th isn't just her birthday, it's also the peak of the Perseid meteor shower.
Which she called her yearly birthday treat.
Exactly. It's this personal, celestial celebration.
And the timing is just uncanny. The master making that desperate ride on August 11th, 1969.
Well, the very meteor shower that would become his daughter's delight was streaking across the sky. The sources note if he'd looked up, he'd have seen the forerunners and ancestors of her future joy.
He's literally racing towards her life under the sign of her future passion. It really makes you pause, doesn't it? Fate or coincidence?
It does, but that secret, that lie about her death, it held for a long time, 14 years.
So what breaks it? What brings the truth out?
The master's own death. Quite suddenly, actually. 14 years later, he collapses during an argument with Effie, doubled over in pain.
Then with him gone.
The architect of the lie is gone. After the funeral, Dr. Frost, the doctor involved in the conspiracy, finally cracks. He tells Effie the whole story.
Oh, wow. Imagine being Effie in that moment. 14 years thinking your child is dead.
The grief, the betrayal, the sources capture her reaction. First, just disbelief. My child is still alive.
And then fury.
Absolute fury. Aimed right at Dr. Frost. She screams at him, "Get the hell out of this house!" You can just feel the weight of those 14 years of deception crashing down.
A staggering betrayal. But for Barbara, this revelation means freedom. A new life.
In a way, yes. Fast forward to 1987. It's her 18th birthday. She's finally told the truth about her parentage, and she learns she's inherited Morehouse, a title, the Honorable Devereux, and a fortune.
A huge fortune. Something like $300 million.
Around that, yes. So suddenly she has immense resources. But the sources say she was grappling with the lie. Less about the money, more about the deception.
She asks, an untruth. You mean I was lied to?
Exactly. It's that realization that her whole life was built on this fundamental falsehood. But she immediately starts using her newfound wealth to shape her own future.
Addressing her identity, her physical challenges.
Right. She looks into corrective surgeries for hands and feet, but those get complicated. Her enlarged heart makes major surgery very risky, so they're constantly postponed.
She also explores gender reassignment surgery.
Yes, she consults surgeons. The sources state she wanted to function as a woman. It's clear she's trying to align her body with her identity, gain some control.
But with the surgeries on hold, because of her heart, she pivots.
She pivots to legacy. If she can't necessarily change her own body easily or have children safely due to her condition, she decides to create something lasting, something for others.
The observatory.
Yes. Her passions for astronomy takes center stage. She funds this massive project, tearing down the old West Tower Observatory at Morehouse and rebuilding it to house state-of-the-art telescopes.
An 8-inch refractor and a custom 30-inch reflector, the sources say.
Huge instruments. And the goal wasn't just personal, it was for educating local children, sharing her passion.
Amidst all this change, this inheritance, these grand plans, there's one constant relationship highlighted in the sources.
Nola, her best friend from the convent days.
Who eventually moves into Morehouse with her.
Yes, Nola becomes her rock, really. There's this very touching, very human moment described where Barbara, still figuring things out, asks Nola directly, "Do you fancy me?" Given their close bond and Barbara's own journey with identity.
And Nola's response is just honest.
Beautifully honest. "I used to, Barbara, but now I like you just as a friend."
And Barbara's reaction.
Pure relief. Phew. Glad of that because I really like you too. You're my best friend.
It just solidifies their bond as chosen family. They understand each other, carry each other's burdens.
And there are other burdens, right. The sources mention Sister Galatia's suicide back at the convent. Yes, after Nola rejected her affections. And Nola had her own heartbreaks later, too. They both carried significant emotional weight into this new life at Morehouse. But Nola was Barbara's constant.
Which makes Nola's presence incredibly important as we approach the final act of this story.
Absolutely critical. We arrive at August 11th, 1999.
That date again, Barbara is now 30. She's lived far longer than Dr. Bunny predicted at birth.
But her health is precarious. That enlarged heart is always a factor. She knows her time might be limited. She's even made her will.
Leaving everything to Milla.
Yes, telling her point blank, I've left everything to you. I'm not going to live to be an old lady. There's a sense of preparation, of facing mortality.
And this specific August 11th holds enormous significance for Barbara the astronomer.
It's the date of the last total solar eclipse visible from England for decades. This is it. The ultimate celestial event she, as a lifelong stargazer, has been waiting for. Her final appointment with the cosmos, maybe.
So what do?
They get on the master's motorcycle, the same Vincent Black shadow from that frantic ride 30 years earlier, now restored.
Wow. The symbolism is almost overwhelming.
It really is. They ride it down to St. Agnes on the Cornish coast to get the best view of the eclipse. History, personal destiny, the cosmos, it's all converging.
The atmosphere must have been electric. Crowds gathering, anticipation building.
Exactly. And just as the eclipse is nearing totality, the moment of complete darkness, Barbara's mobile phone rings.
In that specific moment.
In that exact moment. It's Declan. He used to be Effie's chauffeur back at Morehouse.
Okay, what does he want?
He's calling from Morehouse, and he confesses his love for her, tells her he's left his wife, Ingrid, and then he suggests something almost unbelievable given her medical history.
What?
He says they could have a future together. He actually says we can have one together, meaning a baby.
Oh my God. At that exact second. Under the eclipse.
Yes. Barbara, standing there watching the sun disappear, finally hearing this declaration she's perhaps always longed for, she's completely overcome. The sources record her response. Declan, yes. Okay, oh God, this is so beautiful. Oh, the ring.
The ring, referring to the diamond ring effect of the eclipse.
Presumably, yes. The last sliver of sun creating that brilliant flash. It's the absolute peak of the astronomical event and the sudden, intense, emotional climax for her.
And
then totality hits. The crowd cheers. And in that precise instant of darkness, alignment, and Barbara's overwhelming joy, something happens. Her words just stop. The phone line goes silent.
Silence.
Leaving her fate right at that moment of profound convergence, suspended in the darkness.
So we've traced this incredible life. The conspiracy at birth, the hidden years in the convent.
Her emergence into wealth, her ambitions for science and legacy, that deep bond with Nola.
All leading to this final fateful August 11th. Love, fate, her fragile health, all converging under the shadow of the millennium's last great eclipse.
Barbara herself wondered about it, didn't she? The sources quote her asking, why did 11 August figure so completely with her?
Yeah. So the question we leave you with is this. Looking at that chain of events, the birth date, the Perseids, her father's ride that same night, the final eclipse all falling on August 11th, was that ending the unavoidable hand of fate?
Or was it perhaps the culmination of a life lived bravely but always under the shadow of a damaged, enlarged heart? Which answer feels more unsettling to you?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the secrets of August 11th.
We'll see you next time.